Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. I'm a little out of breath.
Hardly girls not making nap time easy right now.
If you are new here, hi, my name is Mary and I give you an extra warm welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate you more than you know. So as you can tell by the title of the video, today we're going to do an all cream / liquid makeup summer look. So when I think of summer, I think of creams, hydration, which is funny because usually in the summer it's hot and you want your makeup to stay. But I do feel like it is very possible to do a fresh, not natural, but a fresh, hydrating, creamy, liquid summer makeup with the appropriate products. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, let's go ahead and get started with this video. Okay, first things first, prep your skin. I already have my skincare. I'm going to jump into my Wet n Wild Primer Serum. This is almost gone, but I do have a backup. And then I'm going to do a mattifying primer for the T-zone and a hydrating primer for the perimeters of my face. My problem area is always my T-zone, mostly around my nose and right here on my chin. My forehead stays pretty well throughout the day, but those are my problem areas. But hydration is key. If you don't have anything to use, or like this is a step that you don't normally do, just use a hydrating mist. Apply that here, let's do it before you go in with your makeup, and that should do the trick. It's just to bring the hydration back into your face. And now I go in with my primers. Okay, now for foundation. You can either do concealer for foundation or find a foundation that dries down completely. The three in my collection that I remember them drying really fast, like I could barely blend. Probably the Dior too. So the Dior matte, I just recently used that, so I'm not gonna pull it out. This Makeup Forever HD Skin, it dries down so quick and it does dry down into place. The NARS Soft Matte, this one also dries down fairly quick and in place. And the one that I have found to dry down the most and the best, which makes it a little bit difficult for me to work with, and I usually have to mix in something else with it and it still stays on, is the new Gucci Eternité. We're not going to use this one today because this is a possible contender for my wedding, and I think it's like up to here already, so I'm trying to save this just in case that's the one I decide to go with. So it's in between these two, and you know what, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use both. I'll use the NARS on this side and I'll use the Makeup Forever on this side. I will be blending these with a sponge because, like I said, they are that difficult to work with. Well, not that difficult, but they're difficult to work with, and you have to be strategic about how you're going to apply it. That just means that it dries down and it stays in place and you don't technically need powder. Wet n Wild sponge. Same brush, I'm just going to use the pointy side. Okay, and here is what these foundations are looking like. Hopefully they don't look too different in shade. Yep, see skin. This side feels a tiny bit more like powder-like than this side, but they definitely do feel like they have dried down. Like I mentioned, I have to use a sponge with those because I feel like the brush does not do the same thing as the brush just because they dry down so quick. Now for concealer, same situation. Oh yeah, so for the Makeup Forever, I used shade 2N26, and for the NARS Soft Matte Vanuatu Medium 3.5. Okay, so concealers. There's a lot of concealers out there that claim that they are self-setting. For me personally, I don't think I have found one that is a true self-setting concealer. And what I mean is they end up creasing under my eyes either way, even if they do feel like they have dried down. So I feel like from all the concealers I have tried, these two are closest to being self-setting on my under eyes. Also the Makeup Forever HD, that one I would feel is close to being self-setting, but these are the two. The new Natasha Denona High Glam and the beautiful Radiant Concealer from Charlotte Tilbury. Out of these two, for my under eyes, I would say this one is a tiny bit more self-setting than the Natasha Denona. So we're going to jump into the Charlotte on this side, and this is the shade Medium 5. Sonia G Mini Base. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam, N7 is the shade. Same brush. Okay, here is what we are looking like. Face feels good, does not feel sticky. We'll see how my under eyes look later on in this video, because I'm going to show you what I mean as far as, like, I know there's going to be creasing. Obviously, you have creases under your eyes. You just do. It's not going to look completely smooth like a piece of paper, you know? But I feel like when I don't set my under eyes, the product moves. Also, less is more, especially if you are not setting your under eyes. Okay, so now we're going to move on to bronzer. And there's a couple of formulas that do dry down or go from like cream to powder. Undone Beauty. Undone Beauty is a water tint, and it does just that. When you blend it out, it tints your skin and it does dry down, which is, this is a good, more affordable option. The Charlotte Tilbury contour wand for contouring. This also, I feel, dries down fairly well if you're somebody who does not set. The Rare Beauty, this one goes from cream to powder once you blend it out, although I don't know if I would be 100% comfortable with not setting this one down. I didn't swatch the this is the Undone Rare Beauty Hollywood Flawless Filter. The Rose Ink, this one 100% turns from cream to powder. Like, even when you swatch it, you feel it. You do have to break. Yeah, right now that I'm swatching it, it turns into a powder. This one I would feel comfortable with not setting down, and it smells really nice, like fresh roses. Okay, the Charlotte Tilbury. I might use this one today, I'm not sure. This is the Beautiful Skin Glow Bronzer. This one also is one that turns from a cream to powder. Not as well as the Rose Ink, but it does. Like, once you start swatching it, you can feel it. Here's the Charlotte Tilbury right here. Okay, so the two that I had in mind for today are the Glossier. This is the Solar Paint, right? The bronzer, and the Laura Mercier. So with both of these, I have had to figure out how to use them because they dry down so fast. Now, as far as working with them, that's a huge downer. But when it comes to somebody who does not set their face, these are gems. And even these swatches, touching them, it literally feels like I have powder on the back of my hand. Okay, so for the Glossier, I have this shade here, Flare, which is actually the lightest shade. And for this one, it's right here. I have to apply it to the back of my hand and put it on like that. Any other way, it dries down too fast. So I'm picking some up with my brush. This is the Sheer Buffer. By the way, my child is here. So I'll use the Glossier on this side and I'll use the Laura Mercier on the other side. And this one does have a tiny bit of glitter. I don't know if you could see it. Okay, and there it is. Nice and blended. It still feels just the tiniest bit tacky, but don't you worry, it's gonna dry down. Okay, and then now the Laura Mercier, which is right here. This one's more of a natural, or not natural, this one's more of a neutral tone, but I can use it as a bronzer. And I'm blending it out, but it's pretty much already dry. Okay, I picked up the shade 03 Sunbeam, and this one, same situation. I have to apply it on the back of my hand, but sometimes, actually I want to say almost every time, I do have to spray my brush so that I make sure that I have enough time to blend it all out. Okay, so here is what both sides are looking like. And for the Laura Mercier side, I did have to spray the brush, tap it, and then blend it out because I felt like there were some edges that just looked a tiny bit too harsh. And now it looks more to my liking. And as you can tell, it does have a tiny, well, it could also be because I used the same brush for the Solar Paint Glossier one. But the Glossier does have some shimmer in it. I don't know if you could see it. But like, see that? So most of these stay locked in place. I was going to put a tiny bit of the Charlotte Tilbury. Let's do that, why not? And this one, it's also pretty dry. Like, see, I'm moving to the side and it's not really budging. These are all good bronzers that just pretty much blend out and set themselves down. So I'm gonna add a tiny bit. Medium, right, is the shade I have. I think there's only 4 shades available. Yeah, 2 medium for the Charlotte. Okay, now we're going to do blush. And I pulled out a couple of formulas that I feel dry down enough to where you can leave it without setting it. The Glossier Cloud Paint. Now I'm not going to open this because I'm not going to use this. Since we're at high elevation, it just spews out and wastes so much product, but this one is a good one. You get a good amount of product. It's a decently priced brand, and I do enjoy this formula a lot. So that one for sure. Pacifica, the fluffy blushy cream blush. I have it in the shade Sunset. And when they came out with this, there was only 3 shades. This one out of the 3 is the only one that's like a matte formula that dries down to a powder. The other 2 formulas are a tiny bit different, and I'm guessing because of the finish. So I did hear mixed reviews about these, especially if they got a different shade. Sunset is the one that is a cream to powder kind of formula. It's really pretty and definitely affordable. Last time I checked, which was a couple of months ago, it's still available at Ulta, but I don't know if it still is. Okay, another one, the Rare Beauty blushes, and I believe she has different formulas. This is the matte one, and I have in the shade Love. This is also a very pretty formula. I feel it dries down fairly quick and it's really pigmented. I usually have to apply it to the back of my hand and then apply it. Lovely formula, I enjoy it, and you get a lot of product for the price that you pay, so a good option. Okay, the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty Blush Wand. I do feel like these, by the way, I'm pretty sure I already mentioned it, but my toddler's here. This is in the shade Pillow Talk, and I believe it's the shade that is sold out at Sephora. I haven't checked if it's still available at Charlotte Tilbury's website or Beautylish, but I do feel like this formula dries down and you can leave it without actually setting it down. The Danessa Myrex. This is the Yummy Skin blush. I have it in the shade Jubilee. This is the same formula as her Blurring Balm powder. And this, I feel very comfortable not setting it into place. It's a really, really, really nice formula, and it has squalene in there, which helps with the oils. And last but not least, the Huda Beauty Lip Blush. I actually have really been enjoying this formula. Found the best way to apply this, because it does dry down pretty fast, is to apply it to your brush and then apply it that way. So that's what we're going to do today. This is the one we're going to use. I feel like having a pinky blush today. And you have to work fairly quick because it tints your skin. This is the BK Beauty 109 brush. It's a good one for cream products. So pretty. Once you figure out the best way for you to work with, very easy to work with. I've really been enjoying this both on the cheeks and on the lips. Okay, now we're going to talk about eyes, because I feel like the oils, at least on my eyelids,
To affect.
the way my eyeshadow looks and lasts if I use something that's self-setting. Here are a couple of options that I feel work decently. Only one of them I have actually tested without using a primer. I have super, and I mean super, oily eyelids. Okay, so the first one is this Colourpop Moonbeam Cream Shadow. This one I have not tested without primer, so I don't know if it actually like doesn't budge, but when I blend it, it feels like it could be a formula that stays in place and doesn't move. But once you add oils into the mix, that can definitely change. So I haven't tested it out, but I figured it might be a possible option. Also, the MAC Paint Pot. They have different shades. I have here the one that I use for primer, which is soft ochre, but they do have different shades, and this definitely stays in place for my oily eyelids. Okay, another option is the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize. Usually when I use this, it's on top of shadow, and I use it more of like a topper. I have not tested to see if it works okay without primer. It feels like it possibly could. I think I'm going to add this one to today's look. I'm not sure. The Kosas. So they had an older formula and then they reformulated, and that's the one that I have. This one. So it stays in place. I have not tested it out without primer because I believe the time that I used it, I did use a primer, but it's like self-drying, quick self-drying. It's not going to budge for sure. The Lisa Eldridge, I have not tried this without primer, but just the formula of it makes me feel like it would be a good one to use without a primer. I don't know, I could be wrong, and it's beautiful. Her formula is beautiful. And last but not least, the only one that I have tested out without primer is the new Pat McGrath one. I forget what this is called. The Fetish Eyes Longwear Liquid Eye Shimmer, and I have it in Luna Rose. This is the only one that I have tested out, and it stayed in place. It did not crease, nothing, without an eye primer. So I think we're gonna mix a tiny bit of this in the crease, and here, let me just start and we'll see. All right, here is what we're looking like. Like you saw, I ended up using just the Colourpop and the Kosas. I didn't even tell you the shade of the Kosas. I have it in the shade Blaze. It's a very pretty one. I would say the more you blend it, the less shimmery it stays. Probably patting with your finger would be the best result as far as glimmer and shimmer goes. So I wiped off all of that, and the Colourpop is the one that looks like it's giving me the hardest time. So hopefully that means it's crease proof. I will definitely put a note down below letting you know if this eye look stood the test of time as far as my oils seeping out and making it move and crease and whatnot. So I'll put a note and let you know how it went. Okay, I did put on some mascara. I went into my Ilia mascara. It's the Luminous Lash Mascara. It's a little mini one. And then I went into my e.l.f. Precise Brow Pencil. Now we're going to do highlighter. And I don't have too many liquid highlighters. It was very hard to pick out ones that I knew didn't stay balmy, because you definitely don't want a highlighter that's going to stay balmy or sticky. Like right now, my face feels like it's almost set into place. And I say almost because you can feel the difference between a set cream liquid versus actually having powder on top of your makeup. Okay, so I pulled out a couple of options. The Hollywood Flawless Filtr, which you have seen me use as a highlight before. It's a very pretty natural kind of highlight. I'm going to show you the ones that stay the tiniest bit tacky and don't really set into place. I have it in the shade 5.5 for the Hollywood Flawless Filtr. The e.l.f. Halo Glow, I have it in the shade number 3. And this one, it doesn't set down, but I feel like it blends into the skin a tiny bit easier than the Hollywood Flawless Filtr. Like it sinks in, I feel, a tiny bit more. Well, maybe not. I don't know. But those are both good options that I put on top of my powdered face quite a bit and perfectly comfortable with it. This one is a newly released from Westman Atelier, and it is the Liquid Super Loaded Drops, basically. Now, these do stay a tiny bit tacky, FYI. But I do feel comfortable leaving these and not setting them, especially if I blend it out with a brush. I feel like it actually does an amazing job at giving me that natural kind of glow. But the other two are the ones that I know for sure turn from cream to powder, and I'll probably be using these today. First one is from Rose Inc. This is the cream highlighter in Opalescent. This one is a beautiful, beautiful cream formula, but it turns to powder when you blend it out, even as I'm swatching it right now. It is such a pretty highlight. It is so natural. It is so lightweight. It is just, perfection. You see that? So pretty. Love it. It's one of my favorite. It's probably my top favorite cream highlight. The next one, unfortunately, is not available, but if you have it, this is your sign to pull it out and use it. And it's from Lila B. It is the Be Captivating, that's the shade, Glisten Glow Skin Illuminator. This is a cream product. It also turns from cream to powder. It is so soft, light, airy. It just also does an amazing job. This one's a tiny bit darker, but it still just leaves the most beautiful glow. So let me go ahead. I just dipped my finger. It's right here. Okay, so I'm going to use the Lila B first, and then I'll jump into the Rose Ink on top of that. Okay, if you don't like using your fingers for liquid or cream highlights, this BK Beauty 113 brush, absolutely perfect for cream and liquid highlight. But I think I'm going to use my fingers. So I'm starting with a Lila B. See how natural and beautiful that is? The Lila B does have a tiny bit of shimmer in it, but it's okay because you can't get it anymore. And if you have it in your collection and you use it, FYI, you'll notice it. Okay, now I'm going to jump into the rose ink. I would say this is definitely my absolute favorite cream highlight. It is just so pretty. I should probably pick up another shade because this is just such a beautiful formula. Honestly, they did an amazing job. All right, I am back, almost completely done. Real quick, I did forget to mention the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light Wand liquid highlighter. It works really nice. It looks very pretty. It does not dry down completely, but it's also another good option if you have that. Now we're going to move on to lips. Lip liner, I have the KKW Beauty, which is no longer available, but if you own any of her lip liners, this is your sign to pull them out and use them. Okay, so there's definitely a lot of great options for long-lasting lip liners out there that I have tried and I feel are really good and actually do last quite some time. NYX, super affordable one that has been around for quite some time. The Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat. I know it's like overhyped and everybody talks about them, but they're literally that good. The Victoria Beckham. You wouldn't think that they're long-lasting, but they are. They last quite a bit. The Chanel, those are actually very long lasting. Which other one? The Makeup Forever, another good option that lasts quite a bit. If I forget to mention any, but those are the ones that popped at the top of my head. Okay, now I have some lip options for you. Okay, Kaleidos. I feel like their formula for their liquid lip is such a good and underrated one. It's like a whipped moussey kind of texture, but it lasts quite a bit. They're like very long lasting. The Makeup Forever. I don't know what formula this is. The Rouge Artist Forever Matte Liquid Lip. I have it in the shade 240, and for the Kaleidos I have Dune. This one, I don't use it as often, but I do really enjoy it. I haven't purchased any new liquid lip releases. I just haven't. The lip blush from Huda Beauty. This is a stain and I love this color and I do use it, but even though it's a stain, I wouldn't say that it's super long lasting, honestly. Like if you're somebody who licks your lips a lot, you'd probably notice that it actually fades away fairly quick. Okay, Charlotte Tilbury's matte formula. I do feel like this is a really good long lasting lipstick that fades away really nice. This is in very Victoria. The Dior, I feel like their satin matte. This is in 100 nude look. It also is a pretty long-lasting lipstick right here that fades away very, very nicely. Okay, for today we're gonna use the Kaleidos and I'm gonna like smudge it out so it looks like the feathered effect. Okay, let me zoom you on in so we can look at my under eyes real quick. Okay, I feel like they look really, really good. What did you say? Creasing is minimal. It's at its normal, like where my creases are. I don't see any product that has caked up or moved around. Base is also feeling really good. It's feeling like it's set, even though I have no powder. No, I definitely prefer high feels with powder, but I'm not going to do that. Overall, I feel like everything is looking good. So let me zoom you on out and then we can end this video. Okay, so I will definitely leave a note and maybe a picture showing you what the makeup looks like with a couple of hours of wear. I do have to get out and do a couple of grocery errands. My mother-in-law's coming to watch the kids, so I can just get it done super quick without the kiddos. So I will definitely be going out in the heat. Okay, well, that's going to conclude this video. All right, my lovelies. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate everything. every single one of you. You have no idea. All the comments, all the likes. If you use my links to shop, it truly does mean the world to me. And before I say bye, my child wants to say bye to you all.
Bye. Bye. She told me that I couldn't end the video without her saying bye.
Okay, well, with that being said, I would love it if you gave this video a big thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it, and you would definitely help me out in the algorithm of hopefully bringing some new and fresh eyes to my channel. And if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you joined my small YouTube family by clicking the subscribe button. I would love to have you. Okay, my lovelies, I will see you all on the next video. Bye.